My name is Swati. Today we are going to be talking a little about thoughts. The topic being how to convert your negative thoughts into positive. So we'll start with the ideation of what is a thought. Thoughts are like waves. They are like breeze. They come, touch us, they go. At times gently, at times they hit hard as a harsher wind. Sometimes they can be like a storm, but storms are not everyday occurrence. They happen occasionally. So thoughts come, thoughts go. There are several random thoughts in our mind, and we keep trying very hard to bucket them into negative and positive thoughts. We feel good when we are having positive thoughts. We feel anxious, or we try very hard to fight ourselves when we are having negative thoughts, as we do not want to have them. And at times we block them, at times we try very hard to snap out of them, at times we are worried and we worry and begin to think about how much we think negative. So constantly thought engages us through the day, as part of dreams, also through the night. But currently, because day thoughts can be voluntarily managed, we'll be talking about the day thoughts. So to start, we need to understand that every person has different phases in life. And during those phases, the themes of the thoughts can be determined. So today we'll stick to a few negative thoughts. For example, you can have a thought saying, I'm not good enough. Or you can have a thought of failure. Or you can have fears of losing loved ones. So negative thoughts include some kind of experience which we would not want in our life, which we would avoid, or which can be intense enough to cause us trauma, as in pain and hurt of a kind that we hurt very badly. So today we are going to take one thought, and that is, I'm not good enough. Suppose there are thoughts in your mind which you can bucket under the category saying in different areas. I'm not good enough as a mother. I'm not good enough as a friend. I'm not good enough at my work. I'm not a good person. So anything which comes with you feel inadequate or incomplete or not meeting expectations also, as in not good enough at all. How do we convert this thought into a positive thought? The important thing here to recognize is by negating the thought and saying, no, I think I'm good. I am good. I don't care what other people think about me. I know I'm good. So negating your own thought, which is automatically coming into your system, will only get us caught in a loop of standing there and fighting that thought very often. It will not help us analyze, diagnose, and let go of that thought. So how do we begin on understanding the I am not good enough thought? There are 5 areas of functions that we have. Physical, as in how we manage our body, our health, our physical movement, our the way we basically feel about our body. Second is mental, that is the intellectual aspects as to how do you feel about your own mind. So for example, you might not be good enough at mathematics, but you are a literary person and you are able to ideate and come up with stories very well. Then you might not have a feeling that you're not good enough. But if there is a generalized feeling saying that I'm not good enough, you might feel that you're not good enough at anything at all. So we are talking about when you don't give yourself credit of being good at something. You just in general feel you're not intellectually adequate or up there. Third is social, the standing that we have in the social circles we work around. Do we feel belonged? Do we feel out of place? Do we feel superior? Do we feel inferior with the groups of people whom we consider peers? That's our social function. The fourth is our emotional function, our ability to feel and experience whatever emotion is there. So if there is a death that has happened, we are able to process grief. If there is a happy occasion, the ability to be happy and feel in sync with yourself and what you're feeling. if you are jealous, if you are confused, if you're so the ability to be able to have a variety and range of emotions which you permit yourself to experience, and you do not have only unidimensional emotions. And I suppose you feel sad and depressed a lot more often than ever feeling happy. Whether you feel jealous and always feeling inadequate, other than feeling that you have some position, you stand somewhere. So that is emotional. And lastly, functional, your ability to be managing your everyday life, whether it includes financial management, whether it includes doing your chores, whether it includes basically having your everyday life in place and functioning on a everyday basis. So these 5 areas, if we were to evaluate them a little closely, we will recognize that when you are saying, I am not good enough, are you able to figure out in what manner do you feel that you're not good enough? Are you health-wise, physically not able to manage? In the sense, you know that intellectually you are good, but physically your body doesn't cooperate with you in order for you to be able to use your ideas and make them a physical reality, because your body is constantly tired or demotivated or sick or just not up there? Or do you feel that you're not socially up there, as in you don't know where you stand in a group of people? If we take a sport, for example, in cricket, if you are part of the fielding team, you know at what position will you be standing as a fielder. It's not like you are lost or you're confused. The captain tells you, or you recognize your strengths as to where you are going to be as part of the field. A wicket keeper is a wicket keeper. Whenever there's a bowler, that bowler is a bowler. So a fielder replaces the person to come and bowl. So we all have a position in the bigger dynamic in life. So if you feel you don't know how you belong in your family, how you belong in your peer section, how you belong in your office, a lot of times that can end up causing a lot of confusion, right? So we feel we are not good enough. So is it a social inadequacy that you're feeling? Is it a functional inadequacy, as in your everyday chores, there's constantly a backlog and there's constantly feeling overwhelmed that you haven't done the basic things which are required to be done, as in if it is part of your duties to be cooking, cleaning, managing whatever needs to be bought from the market, or having adequate money to be able to pay the fees which is about to come maybe the coming week. So if you're not able to manage the functional self, then you're overwhelmed. So if you recognize in which areas you feel inadequate, that is the beginning point of analysis. So we have a direction in which to look for. Once we know the direction to look for, we'll also be able to know what are the skills required to be working on that inadequacy. The second level of analysis is to be able to divide it the way appraisals happen in offices, that you're extremely dejecting, poor, you're fair, okay, managers, you're meeting expectations, but not being able to bring something new or better on the table. You are taking a lot of initiative and you are doing uh, a lot of things on your own. So you're above average or you're exceptionally good at whatever you're doing. So once you recognize in what space, so after you understand the 5 categories, every category can be rated into this particular scale. And that scale can end up helping us recognize how to create a momentum about this particular analysis. The third level of analysis is the area in which you're finding yourself inadequate. Do you care enough to become adequate in that? Like I just mentioned some time back, you might be a literary person and your ability to create characters is something you appreciate about yourself, but you might not understand the laws of physics as simply that you pick up a book and you'll understand. You need somebody to help you with that. So being inadequate in physics, but adequate enough in literature, does that make you feel okay? Or is it a gap that you require yourself to fill? So figure out whether that's an inadequacy you want to work on, or you really don't care and it is absolutely okay if you don't work upon that. Now, after having these three levels of analysis, we need to recognize that which are the ones that you want to begin to work on. There might be 10 things you believe you need to work on. Why 10? There might be 100 things you believe you need to work on. But if at all we try to work on all 100 at the same time, we know that we are only going to meet failure, and then the negative thinking will continue. So we need to prioritize, come up with a list of 10, and within those 10, choose 3 or 4 that you will pick up as your short-term goals. So short-term goals are anything that you will begin to work upon within the next 3 months. So if it is physical, if it requires to meet certain doctors, if it requires to begin exercise or the right kind of food and nutrition, if it is mental, if you require to read something or take a course, if it is emotional, do you want to talk to a couple of friends or a therapist and find out what could be the little gaps which is not letting you feel in sync with what you're feeling. If it is social, to recognize what are the areas of gaps. Are you trying too hard, or are you lacking some self-esteem, or you're feeling rejected too often? So we'll be able to identify these areas. And if you prioritize and begin to work on 3 to 4 things in your short-term goals, the feeling of becoming better on an everyday basis will reduce the negative thought of I am not good enough. So creating just a layer of a lie saying, if I feel I'm not good enough, to say I am good enough, I am good enough, I am good enough, right? That's not going to solve the negative thinking problem, because then you will be caught in your own loop of the thoughts. But if you're going to be able to analyze it on the parameters we just mentioned, you'll be able to do something about it. And whenever we are able to do something about things, it increases our confidence on a daily basis. So confidence is an action. Confidence is your ability to be able to execute your thought and feeling. So confidence comes not by telling yourself that I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. It comes by beginning to work on yourself in an active everyday process. So prioritize 3 to 4 things, and because your diagnosis is in place, you'll be able to recognize how you want to move ahead. So that's what I have for you today. We will continue over the next few days with different themes of negative thought and see how to make them positive. Thank you very much.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.